Everybody's favorite time, Infrastructure Week, convened in our nation's capital Monday. The week-long event focuses on rebuilding and modernizing America's infrastructure.
So according to the American Public Transportation Institute, there is a need for at least $232 billion in public transportation projects across this nation. Here to discuss how Congress is hoping to update and repair the nation's infrastructure is Congressman Rob Woodall of Georgia, member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure and the House Budget Committees. He's joined by the California Congressman Harley Rouda, also a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure. He serves on the House Oversight Committee. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, congressmen, tell us about it's Infrastructure Week every week here in Washington. Is there a realistic chance of the president's infrastructure plan of this? I think it's $235 billion coming into law and being forged in this current Congress. It's heartening to see you both together.
Well, I don't know what the chances are of the president's plan, but the chances that Harley and I can come together on a plan are 100%. We need White House leadership, and that's what the president is providing. And we need House and Senate leadership, and that's what Nancy Pelosi did when she went down to the White House to partner. Our committee is a special committee in the way that we work together. And while a lot of the nation believes the odds are against us, I think the chairman, Mr. DeFazio from Oregon, Mr. Rouda, and I can get it done.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think the bipartisanship you see in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee is committed to getting a result. And this is probably the only major piece of legislation that we will be able to see both parties come together and make sure that happens. My hope also is that the president takes the recommendations of the committee and Congress in general and not try and throw a monkey wrench into it and, again, follows our lead.
Congressman Rouda, what are you looking at in terms of how to pay for an infrastructure package?
What it's not going to be is the gas tax. That's a 20th century model, and if we continue to rely on it, we're going to continue to have the shortfalls that we're having today. So we've got to expand the revenue stream. Vehicle miles traveled tax is something that we're going to have to look at, and we have more choices. If you want a good starting point, look at the actual legislative language that our former chairman, Bill Schuster, introduced just before he retired last year. It uses the gas tax as a bridge, but then commits us to a 21st century funding stream that eliminates the shortfalls we've seen over the last decade.
And that's right. We've got to look at all possible sources. And the money needed is much more than what you cited on the front end of this interview. We are looking at much closer to $1 trillion as the full infrastructure need, because it does go well beyond just roads and bridges. So we have to find funding sources from multiple different areas to be able to fund that.
Do you think the American people are going to balk at a $1 trillion infrastructure tax? I mean, the last time we saw anywhere close to this number was the bank bailouts, and that obviously was tremendously unpopular.
If we're going to look at this correctly, we have to realize how much money we are losing because of our poor infrastructure and lack of maintenance and investment. Right now, it's estimated that $3,400 per family is being lost because of our outdated, underserved infrastructure. So the money is money well spent because it propels our economy forward and creates good paying jobs.
And remember, this is a user fee. We're not talking... Yeah. We're not asking someone else to pay for infrastructure needs. This is for our community. If we step up, and every mayor in America knows, as goes your education system and your transportation system, so goes the economic health of your community.
Well, and Congressman Woodall, you've been pointing to Georgia, your home state, as a model. Tell us what you think we should know.
Listen, we're a conservative state in the Deep South, and we passed a $1 billion a year transportation tax increase because we want to be the economic center of the southeastern United States. When we had a bridge burned down in Georgia, we came together, Democrats at the local level, Republicans at the state and federal level, produced it in record time, and get this, paid a $3 million performance bonus to the contractor. Do you know how many conservatives complained about that performance bonus? Zero. Folks are happy to pay for performance. It's paying for non-performance that divides this country. What Mr. Rouda and I are going to work on is making sure we're squeezing every single dollar to get maximum value for the American taxpayer, and Americans want that 21st century system.
Yeah, I do think there is a want for that 21st century system. I think there's a particular want for just seeing the two of you next to each other working on an issue like this. Speaking to a broader question, why is it, yes, the speaker went to the White House, but we haven't yet seen any more action. I haven't seen any meetings from the White House. Do you want the president and his staff to step up more and provide you a bill, or would you rather that you guys take the lead within the Congress and then they just give you the support that they need?
I'd like to see Congress take the lead and the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee being the leading part of that outcome, and then working with the White House and the Senate to complete the bill.
But you all said it right. Raising taxes is a difficult thing to do. Raising user fees is a difficult thing to do. What I'd like to see out of the White House is that recognition that you've heard from the two of us this morning that we have serious needs. We saw that in the meeting with Nancy Pelosi 2 weeks ago. And then I want to see the seriousness that we're going to go and find that revenue. We're not going to pass these bills on to our children and our grandchildren. When the president puts his stamp of approval on that, when Nancy Pelosi puts her stamp of approval on that, that frees us up as a committee to really go and do amazing things.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Coming up just days after Alabama passed a very restrictive abortion law, Missouri seems set to do the same. But how will Democrats frame the choice argument in this presidential race? Also, the president's writing hand is getting the workout. What does that mean? His writing hand, there we go, is getting a workout. That's what that's supposed to say. He signed pardons for some high-profile folks. There we go.
And one of the most anxiety-inducing times of any high schooler's life is taking the SATs. But a so-called adversity scoring for those tests has sparked a debate that probably won't end soon. Team Rising is here just after the break.